Uncle Eddie has gone, thank the Lord. He actually asked me if I'd like to ride in the sidecar on his motorbike. Are all adults from planet Xenon? What should I have said? Oh, yes, certainly, Uncle Eddie. I would like to go in your pre-war sidecar, and with a bit of luck, all of my friends will see me with some mad bald bloke, and that will be the end of my life. Thank you. 4 p.m. Jazz came round. She said it took her ages to get out of her catsuit after the fancy dress party. I wasn't very interested, but I asked her why out of politeness. She said, well, the boy behind the counter in the hire shop was really good looking. Yeah, so? Well, so I lied about my size. I got a size 10 catsuit instead of 12. She showed me the marks around her neck and waist. They're quite deep. I said, your head looks a bit swollen up. No, that's just Sunday. I told her about the Cosmo article, and so we spent a few hours recalling the fancy dress party, that is, the painful incident, and experiencing the emotions in order to heal them. I blame Jazz entirely. It may have been my idea to go as a stuffed olive, but she didn't stop me like a pal should do. In fact, she encouraged me. We made the stuffed olive costume out of chicken wire and green crepe paper. That was for the olive bit. It had little shoulder straps to keep it up, and I wore a green t-shirt and green tights underneath. It was the stuffed bit that Jazz helped with mostly. As I recall, it was she that suggested I use crazy colour to dye my hair and head and face and neck red, like a sort of pimento. It was, I have to say, quite funny at the time. Well, when we were in my room, the difficulty came when I tried to get out of my room. I had to go down the stairs sideways. When I did get to the door, I had to go back and change my tights because my cat Angus had one of his Call of the Wilds episodes. He really is completely bonkers. We got him when we went on holiday to Loch Lomond. On the last day, I found him wandering around the garden of the guest house we were staying in. Tarry a Wee While, it was called. That should give you some idea of what the holiday was like. I should have guessed all was not entirely well in the cat department when I picked him up and he began savaging my cardigan. But he was such a lovely-looking kitten, all tabby and long-haired with huge yellow eyes. Even as a kitten he looked like a small dog. I begged and pleaded to take him home. He'll die here. He has no mummy or daddy, I said plaintively. My dad said, he's probably eaten them. Honestly, he can be callous. I worked on Mum, and in the end I brought him home. The Scottish landlady did say she thought he was probably mixed breed, half domestic tabby and half Scottish wildcat. I remember thinking, oh, that'll be exotic. I didn't realise that he would grow to the size of a small Labrador, only mad. I used to drag him around on a lead, but, as I explained to Mrs. Next Door, he ate it. Anyway, sometimes he hears the call of the Scottish Highlands. So as I was passing by as a stuffed olive, he leapt out from his concealed hiding place behind the curtains, or his lair, as I suppose he imagined it in his cat brain, and attacked my tights, or prey. I couldn't break his hold by banging his head because he was darting from side to side. In the end, I managed to reach the outdoor brush by the door and beat him off with it. Then I couldn't get in Dad's Volvo. Dad said, why don't you take off the olive bit and we'll stick it in the boot? Honestly, what's the point? I said, Dad, if you think I'm sitting next to you in a green t-shirt and tights, you're mad. He got all shirty like parents do as soon as you point out how stupid and useless they are. Well, you'll have to walk then. I'll drive along really slowly with Jazz and you walk alongside. I couldn't believe it. If I have to walk, why don't Jazz and I both walk there and forget about the car? He got that stupid, tight-lipped look that dads get when they think they're being reasonable. Because I want to be sure of where you're going. I don't want you out wandering the streets at night. Unbelievable. I said, what would I be doing walking the streets at night as a stuffed olive? Gate-crashing cocktail parties? Jazz smirked, but Dad got all outraged parenty. Don't you speak to me like that, otherwise you won't go out at all. What is the point? When we did eventually get to the party, me walking next to Dad's Volvo driving at 5 miles an hour, I had a horrible time. Everyone laughed at first, but then more or less ignored me. In a mood of defiant stuffed oliveness, I did have a dance by myself, but things kept crashing to the floor around me. The host asked me if I would sit down. I had a go at that, but it was useless. In the end, I was at the gate for about an hour before Dad arrived, and I did stick the olive bit in the boot. We didn't speak on the way home. Jazz, on the other hand,